And here we go. Well, welcome. Good evening. I'm so excited to see your smiling faces this evening, even if it's just your photo that you choose for your Zoom screen. It really does lift my heart to see others working on themselves, because being a part of this community has really been what's changed my life for the better. And I hope you know that I am a better me because of you. And so I just thank you for leaning in here and joining with me. And I have a big thank you for Charlee. We actually met on Instagram, last year sometime. A mutual friend did a live and she showed up supportive on my live. And I was like, who is this woman? I'm going to follow her. And she's just talking my language. You definitely, if you haven't already checked out her Instagram page, she's got great tips. Her handle is Ask Charlee, AskCharlee. She just brings it with the clear, concise tips that you can use to help manage your life. And if there's one thing that I have heard or said often on this journey is I don't have time. And I feel like it's not something we can really manage, right? Like time is, we all get 24 hours, just some of us find a way to seemingly do more. And so my hope and my ask in bringing Charlee into our group this week was to help us get some tips from a professional, make some connections, and get some lessons that will help us seem like we're getting more time back in our days. So I really didn't have much I wanted to do other than thank you for giving your gift with us, coming in and sharing with us. We're looking forward. You have a lot of hardworking women and moms who are just doing so much for others that I know you're going to breathe some life into us. And I'm going to take myself on mute and let you take it away. So you are a go.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for having me this evening. I'm excited to be here. I am going to share my screen in a minute, but if you were able to see my Facebook Live the other day, it's indicated that I was a professional organizer and a time management coach. And I got into this about 15, 16 years ago because I was helping my mom raise my niece and nephew. I don't have kids, but I was going to working full time and going to school full time at night and helping her to raise two kids. So I was taking them to school, picking them up, packing lunches, taking them to orthodontist, and doing all the things that, they weren't living with me, but I was doing all the things to help my mom, who was also working full time. So with that, that's how I got into organization and time management, because I had to manage multiple things and all these balls were in the air. And so let me share my screen so we can get into the presentation. I don't want to take up too much time. Can everyone see the presentation? Thumbs up if so. Yes, okay, no. Okay, so what this presentation is for work-life balance and introduce the term work-life integration, because a lot of us were, when we were out for COVID, a lot of us stayed out or we're working a hybrid. So I wanted to introduce this concept or this term. And as you can see, this fulcrum with a lot of things under it. This is us every day when we're trying to balance things. Maybe laundry is one of the little squares, a circle might be our job, and going to grocery shopping, all these little things. And we're like the seesaw teetering, but it's not balanced. Because if one thing falls from there, we're a mess, we'll fall apart. So then this is you with the term work-life balance. You're in the center and you're trying to balance all these circles, your community life, your self-care, your home life, and your job. So again, like the fulcrum and the seesaw, if one thing falls or one thing takes over and that's a larger space, it might engulf you or take over your home life or your community life. So with work-life integration, it's just like a puzzle. You're trying to put all the pieces together and it's not balancing. What you're doing is trying to integrate, maybe if you have some chores or, some errands you can run at your lunchtime at work or on your way to take the kids to school, you're integrating and weaving in some of those things throughout your day, because then you're not trying to balance it and do everything at night or on the weekends. And this is what work-life integration looks like. If there is something, you can do when you're serving your community on your way to do community service, maybe do that at lunchtime. I used to take my lunchtime to do community service for work, or some of your self-care. If there's some things you can do, like sometimes I'll volunteer at this community center. Well, this community center has new clothes in it. So I do some shopping while I'm there, because these are clothes that are donated by places like Ralph Lauren or Michael Kors, but they still have the tags on them. So I'll do a little shopping while I'm doing my community service, and, trying on clothes and making myself feel good. And I'll come back, and it's just like all integrated. So I find things that I can integrate into my life, and to try to not to balance it, but to integrate it. And for sake of time, I cut some of these slides down, but here's a time matrix, time management matrix that I give to my clients or show them. And what it is there are 4 quadrants. Then you have the important things that are urgent and non-urgent. Important things like pressing problems, any crisis that come up, those are urgent and important. Non-urgent but important are things like relationship building and working out. It's important, but it might not be urgent. But these are important for you to move forward in your life, to do things with your family. Not urgent, but important for you to build yourself up. And then we have the not important, but urgent, or like some emails that people might send you. It's their urgency, but it's not your urgency. It's urgent to them, but it might not be as important to you. And then we have the non-urgent, non-important, which are, if we're on social media, we're scrolling, we're having a good time. That's not urgent and it's not important unless it's your job. If you're doing social media content, it's our time wasters when we're goofing off. Those are the non-urgent, non-important things, but those things also make us feel good. These are things, if you want to binge on Netflix, you don't want to leave those out, but you can see the quadrants and how you can schedule your day or your weekend in those quadrants. And so then I go through the home management plan with my clients, and we have like a family command center, time management schedules, communication. I help with these are the pillars I help people with, the ladies that I help: organizing, cleaning and laundry, meal planning and prep, and delegation and automation, which we as women have a lot of heartburn over sometimes delegating. We might want the kids to start learning how to clean the toilet, and then we get like, oh, they didn't do a good job. We're not ready to delegate, but it takes us a longer time because we know how we want our house to look, or we want our dishes washed. So we'll go over it. So then we're wasting time, but you're trying to get used to delegating. So on time management, how I start my clients off, and Jen, I might send this to you for the ladies, is I will, once I'm working with time management clients, I will give them this time budget. And what it is a list of things. And I ask them to estimate the amount of time they spend on each area of this, just estimate it the first week. And then the second week, go back in and see how you really do. Say, for instance, for your morning routine for your kids, you really think you might spend like 30 minutes asking them to get up, helping them get dressed and all that, when it's really probably an hour. Or you're watching television, you might say, oh, I'll only do like 30 minutes a day. And then once you really do it, you'll see like, oh, I really am at 2 hours a day. So it helps you to understand where things are that you may be able to tighten up. Or if you feel like, okay, I'm not spending enough family time. I thought I might have been spending, 2 hours a weekend, but I'm only spending 30 minutes a weekend. So this exercise is an eye opener, and they do it every week for about a month. But that first week is the estimating. And then they go in each week to add and understand how they're spending their time. So it's pretty helpful. So with communication, if you have kids, and if you're married or with kids, this is a big thing, because everybody might have their own schedule, especially if you have teenagers and you have them, one teenager, multiple teenagers. In my house, when I was younger, there was 3 of us. So everybody had a week vacuuming, somebody had a week with bathrooms, with kitchen. So with communication, we would meet up and my mom would put it on this, like a little spreadsheet, and everybody had a task. Even my brother, who's 8 years younger than me, he did have a little job when she was sweeping. And he might not have done a good job, but he was introduced to doing some of the chores around the house at an earlier age. And so we would have a little meeting, like I said, every month. And then we would go over our chores of what we needed to do. And also in that communication, we would have weekly breakouts. And this is what I introduced some of my clients to, where your kids are bringing in any permission slips, anything that you might miss out of the backpacks, because you're going to go through it. But then you're here like, oh, mom, we got cupcakes on Friday, and it's Wednesday. So with the communication, if you have a specific day of the week that you want to do your communication, or Sunday nights to go through backpacks, this is what I advise, and do what helps you best, what fits for your family, because this will help keep you on pace, especially if you're doing weekly planning. You can, okay, we do have cupcakes on Thursday or Friday, so you're not last minute running to the store to get things. So I found this very helpful in my personal life, and when I set this up for clients. And the feedback is this is very helpful because it puts them on a schedule to understand what happens next or what needs to be done that week. And for organizing, cleaning, and laundry, everybody has their own way of doing things. What works best for me might not work best for you. Say, for instance, I like to do my laundry on Sunday. And I'll spread all the laundry out, but I'm doing it throughout the day. I like to iron on Saturday, which is odd because guess what? I'm doing my laundry on Sunday, but then my ironing sits there for a week because I'm ironing on Saturday. But that works for me. But it's in a nice, neat pile, but I can iron on Saturday. And then with my cleaning, I like to clean the bathrooms on Sunday while I'm washing clothes, but also like to do a midweek refresh. So then on Sunday, it's not a lot of work for me. I might do the dusting while I'm watching television. So we have to find ways of making things easier for us so that we might not fit. If we do want to watch television for 2 hours, if you're dusting in between in commercials or picking up the toys, you're adding to your lovely adventures of binge watching a show and cleaning at the same time. So those types of things I like to mention to people because you are doing something, towards your household chores or your laundry, anything that you might have. And with organizing, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, I always mention that you have to declutter first, because you cannot organize clutter. You can organize clutter, but it's not going to be very helpful. Organized clutter is not helpful. So I know we like to get all the pretty bins and baskets and pay all the money, but if you declutter first in small areas, if a pantry or a junk drawer or under your bathroom sink, I always say start small. You might find that you might not need the bins and the baskets, and then you're saving money in itself. So say, for instance, you have a cabinet full of old pots and pans that you don't want. Maybe start there. Things that you don't want that might be easier for you to get rid of or to donate. Things in your pantry, old spices, old condiments, things like that. Easy for you to get rid of. Start small, start there. Don't overwhelm yourself. Then if you go to a closet or some kids' clothes that these are the cutest little things. They were 2 when I bought these and they have outgrown them, but I don't want to give them away. Those things are harder to get rid of. So I say, if you get 2 projects like that, walk away from it, start with something else and come back. Because then you'll say, okay, that might be more sentimental clutter, but somebody else could use this. Take a picture of it. or if there are things that you really want to keep when you're decluttering, if you find something that you want to keep, like I have my old prom dress, my old cheerleading uniform. I'm not going to use those things, but I wanted to keep them. So there's a bin that I have, and I can't put anything else in that bin unless I throw stuff out, because this is I call it my sentimental mental clutter. I went to high school in the 1900s, so I'm not going to use any of that. And I can't even put it on, but these are things that I want to keep. So if there are things, don't stress out. Just make you an area and make a neat area or bin, and then put those things in it. If you want to keep or add to it, you've got to probably take something out. But I don't recommend people throwing away everything, because it might become too overwhelming or too stressful. But make an area for you to be able to keep those items, and don't let that area overflow. That is my recommendation on it. I'm not one of the organizers that says get rid of everything. I'm one of the organizers that says, if you have the space to keep it, I mean, let's not be like out of control with it. But if there are items that you want to keep, we might need to make space for it so you won't be stressed out. This is what I'm talking about with my laundry right here. So my ironing board might look like this on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But my bed, when I take all the clothes on Sunday out of the dryer, I fold those. But then my ironing board might look like this. Now, you're not going to see my ironing board on Instagram, because this is what, but it looks like this. And I'm not ashamed or afraid, because this is how I live. This is works best for my schedule. So the pile like this that's upstairs now, I'll get that done on Saturday, but it works for me. So I'll wake up Saturday morning around 8 or before I do everything, and then that stash is gone. I'll start over fresh. But I do hit that bed of clothes on a Sunday after I'm done all that. So just whatever works best for your schedule in your house, with your job or your family. In meal planning and prep, I know you hit on this, so I don't want to go into this too much, except for what I do recommend is, when you start the week off, you look at your schedule. If you've done your communication for the week and your kids have soccer practice, and some nights you might be out late, or you're going to go to a meeting, so you don't need to pack a lunch. What I can recommend is, go through Monday through Friday, calculate how many breakfasts you'll need, lunches and dinners and snacks. And then once you do that, you can plan out your meal. Plan out, okay, I'm going to have, tacos or ground turkey and rice or something, however you guys eat, I don't know, but look at it that way. Just add up. Say, for instance, this week, I knew I had a business lunch. So I did not make enough lunches. Well, I made enough lunches for Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Today is Wednesday. I had a business lunch. On Fridays, I work from home. So I only needed to pack 3 lunches this week. So I start off each week knowing how many breakfasts, how many lunch, how many dinners, and I go overboard with the snacks because I love fruit. And so I'm always overboard having extra fruits with the snacks. And delegation and automation. If you have small kids, I like the automation of some things like the lights, some things that can help you around the house. If they hear you playing the cleanup song or something, if they're little kids, like, okay, here's the cleanup song, that means it's, you've already brushed your teeth or preparing to go to bed. When that cleanup song is on, they're knowing to put their toys away, and you just make it a fun thing, because at daycare, when they're smaller, everybody's got a cleanup song somewhere in this world. So they'll know, and you're getting them into like, okay, 5 minutes of cleanup before we go upstairs or go wherever we go to brush our teeth and put our PJs on and get to bed. So if you have automated lights, automated just anything, how you have the Amazon or the Google, you say Google Play, blah, 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 and they'll, okay, we know it's time to get ready for bed. So some of the things that we can automate in our houses will make our time easier and help our kids or even our spouses get to know, like, okay, here we go. It's time to, reset our kitchen for the night. because you're in there, got your favorite song on your kitchen jams, and you're going to spend 10 minutes each night in the kitchen before you go to bed. So things that helps us get motivated and also reminds us of what we need to do, because I like to stay up late, but I don't need to stay up late. So I know I'm a grown lady. I have gray hair. I'm a time management person, but I still have an alarm every night at 9:59 reminding me, you need to get started to go to bed. But what do? At 9:59, I'm still on the couch, but I got 31 minutes before I got to get up and get to the bed. So I'll, wind down whatever work I'm doing. I'll come into the kitchen, wash the dishes, clean the counters, and I'm upstairs by 10:30 getting into the bed. So like I said, I'm a time management specialist, and I still do the same thing that I'm, asking or talking to my clients about, because it's hard sometimes, because we know better, but we don't want to. Sometimes we don't want to do it, but we know that if we don't do it on the other end in the morning, we're going to kick ourselves. So most of these things, as you saw, the laundry or the stories I'm telling you, I do these things for myself, and that's how I know that they work. And that's how I ask, people to just give it a try. And most of the clients do understand it, and they'll do it, and they'll say, oh, it does work. It's not something fancy that I'm doing. It's just plain everyday things that we can all do to help ourselves around our house, to make our lives just a little bit less stressful, a little more simplified, and just make a better day for each of us on the next day. It's always about the next day. It's to me, because I'm getting prepared now for the next day. It's less stressful when I wake up in the morning. And I hope I didn't take up too much time. That's it. Oh, we have things I'm sorry. I didn't mind the chat. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to be mindful of your time.
No, I love it. I mean, we have 6 minutes together yet. If you have the time and you're willing, I saw some questions come in. I know one of them was math. Do you have any tips for organizing massive inventory? Like things that you can find what you need when you need it type of massive
inventory, like bathroom or?
So I'm going to assume, but Nicole has a repurposing business. So cool. She has like mass quantity of, say, buttons, say probably 100,000 buttons, maybe more, like literally dresser drawers full of buttons. So when you're organizing mass quantities of things, say in a shipping and storing type of way.
So I have a client that is she has a craft room that's probably the size of my house, and she has a sewing room that's huge. So what she has done is she has these, I know you can get them from Container Store and Target, these these shelves. It's like a sturdy shelving unit. And she just has containers for fabrics, and she has containers for buttons and zippers. And I wish I had a picture of it. The way she has them stacked, it's just clear containers that she's got from the dollar store. And each shelf might have buttons, zippers. What do you call this? I can't think of the name, because she does the Cricut also. So she has all this going across. So she might have 2 sets of shelves going straight across, four up. But what we did was organize it in all her sewing equipment, or all sewing essentials, and all her crafting. But I think this might be able to fit for something like that. And I think she bought her shelving units from Target, but they're really sturdy, so they're heavy. And I think each shelf, you could put about 50 to 75 pounds on each shelf. And she just has clear containers, and they're from the dollar store. Like, I'm not one to say, let's spend a whole bunch of money to go out and buy bins and stuff, because I don't know how much inventory you have, and that can be overwhelming. I'm not a fan of like spending a whole bunch of money to go out. So if you can find them and you can use this, I would spend the more money on the shelving so that you can hold more and then build on it, because she has 4 up, but the way it's built, you can add a shelf. So I don't know how high you can go or need to go, but you can continue to add shelves. So I don't know if that was helpful.
No, thank you. And if I can, maybe this is probably a bigger ask than I can, but I loved how you used the word work-life integration as opposed to the balancing. I love that demonstration. It really did something to ease my mind. And you spoke about a family command center and just having those weekly points. I know for me, when it comes to health and fitness, something I say a lot is one is more than none. And like, you got one workout in, that's more than none. You got one vitamin shake in, you did one glass of water more than yesterday, and celebrating every action. So my question, I'm kind of thinking the advice may be similar, but my question is, what if you just feel like there's so much, where could I possibly start? Like any one tip or nugget, or like, where do you start when you feel overwhelmed and unmotivated because you just see all the stuff? Like, what do you say to those ladies that are like, I want to join you, but
we fill out the time management, the time budget, and then they can see. So it might take a while, because when you do the time budget, and I will give you out, so if you would like it, and then you're estimating. So that first week, you're still going to feel like, oh my God, but you're going to write down what you're estimating. And then you're going to see where you're wasting or what you can cut. Because once we see, one of my clients is a retiree, and she kept saying, I'm wasting time. I'm wasting time. You're retired. I don't understand. But what she was doing was, she wasn't wasting time. She just felt her sleep shift had changed. So her sleeping had changed, but she felt like she still needed to sleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'm like, you're retired. Those things that you like to do. Now you go to sleep at 12 or 1, you can wake up at 8. It's up to you, so once she did her time budget, and she was like, oh my gosh, I understand what you're saying now. And then she realized, but I found out I was spending like an hour and a half where I thought I was spending 30 minutes a day on social media. So that helped her understand where she could shave some things off, if that's helpful. She figured out when she did it, and she's like, yeah, I am retired. It had to click in her head. These things that I'm doing no longer apply to me. And there's some things that we are still doing in our lives that don't apply to the season that we're in. And we're just trying to do all the things, but it's the season of life that we're in. Some of these things we can let go, but we've been doing it for so long, it's hard to let go.
I love that. I thank you so much. So if you didn't already, make sure you follow Charlee on Instagram, Ask Charlee, AskCharlee. And we get her for 2 more days in the group. So make sure that you're popping in Summer to Remember to see what she's sharing, and thank her for her time. I thank you so much. I thank you.
Thank you. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I was just trying to get it in. So
I got a lot of notes, and I see a lot of value in just that. I can definitely see those that choose to work with you get some value and help see they really do have more time, that they can integrate things. And I adored the idea that I can use my lunch break to volunteer sorting clothing, and also it is okay to take some of that clothing opportunity to shop for myself. Like, how much of a win-win-win? Like, I don't know who said you can't multitask, because that sounded like some pretty perfect multitasking. That was pretty exciting. So I'm going to stop off record and say thank you again, and let's pop here. Okay. Oh.